So for those that don't know, a little introduction to Fortune Fairies. They were an archetype used by Kali Nagisa in the YGO 5Ds anime. They were first used around 2008 to 2009 in the anime. Keep this in mind, they are about 11 to 12 years old. The whole archetype consisted of normal monster spellcasters from all attributes between levels 1 to 6 with 0 attack and 0 defense. Their text and the whole gimmick was fortune telling. Their main card is a continuous spell, Miracle Stone, that gives them all attack and which brought the whole archetype together. Those cards didn't see a physical release unlike the Fortune Lady counterparts until the 2019 collection pack Duelist of Revolution, or the 2019 Battles of Legend Heroes Revenge, if you're a TCG player like me. So 10 years existed before they debuted in anime and their physical card came. I mean 10 years in Yu-Gi-Oh! Lots of power creep, lots of insane, mostly power creep and change in the game, so they surely got a big buff, right? Right. As always, with legacy support for 5Ds, the cards got a lot of unnecessary changes and nerfs. Let's talk about them. To start off, they changed them from vanilla monsters, which worked perfectly fine and had a lot of support, into effect monsters for no good reason. They still kept their 0 attack and 0 defense, however. They all share the same effect. When you draw this card, you can reveal it and special summon it from your hand. And when they are special summoned from the hand, they gain a certain effect. Of course, we don't want this archetype to be really playable, so they have hard ones per turn. I mean, naturally, overbalancing is a more than Yu-Gi-Oh! Thing towards fun archetypes. The entire gimmick kinda came out of nowhere. Sure, 2 existing spells, an acceptable result and Lucky Loan, already summoned from the hand before the redemption, but still, it's kinda weird. Anyways, let's judge the individual Fortune Fairies first. Hikari is level 1 light that, when summoned, allows you to target one monster you control, send it to the graveyard and special summon a level 1 spellcaster from your deck. This effect already confuses me. What are we even supposed to summon with this? Fortune Lady Light, Fortune Lady Past? Fairies don't have any other level 1s. Currently the best targets are Mystic Piper and Magician Souls, and Souls is slightly more of an accident than, somewhat intended. As for Piper, it synergizes with the archetype somewhat, but in an ideal situation, you want to run a lot of level 1s to make Piper work. But hey, at least it has some potential, I guess. Next up is Fortune Fairy N, level 2 of Fire. If this card is special summoned from your hand, target all set card your opponent controls to destroy it. Now if it destroyed any card, sure. But destroying a set card, that's a bit too specific and restrictive in my opinion. Next up is Fortune Fairy Hue, level 3 Wind. If this card is special summoned from your hand, you can target one of your banished spellcaster monsters added to your hand. Pardon me? None of these cards work with being added from your banished to your hand. At least it said, and if you do, special summon one Fortune Fairy monster from your hand at the end. It would have been an okay effect. But this is just way too unreliable and it barely gives you any advantage. I mean, you need to have a spellcaster banished face up for this to do anything. Next up is Fortune Fairy SWEE, level 4 Water. Why do I hear croaking sounds? Anyways, if this card is special summoned from the hand, you can target one other face-up monster on the field, banish it until the standby phase of your next turn. That's kind of a weaker Farfa. Sure, the banish lasts longer, but it can only target face-up monsters, which is specific. Why? Why only face-up? This effect feels kinda random. But credit where credit is due, this at least pushes you to an OTK win condition. Or triggers your Fortune Lady Light, if you somehow try to combine these two in a janky mix of 2 decks that don't really work together. I really don't know what Konami is trying to do with these. Next up is Fortune Fairy On, level 5 Dark. What's that? Zolkin? Huh, if only Instant Fusion was still a 3. Anyways, if this card is special summoned from your hand, you can banish one spellcaster monster from your deck. Okay, wait, that's it? No adding it to your hand the next turn, or anything beneficial, you just banish a spellcaster from your deck, which sounds like a cost for an effect. Oh, that's the actual effect, okay, wow, wait. I guess you should combine this with Hue to search a singular spellcaster, I get it, but that's just a huge joke. I wanted to ask, what was Konami thinking when they made this? But they probably weren't, that's the goddamn problem in the first place. Finally, there is Fortune Fairy CHEE, level 6 Earth. If this card is special summoned from the hand, you can make each player draw 1 card. And I actually use this card in Fortune Lady Zolkin at times. Souls target, self-summoning, and a decent effect. But here's the question. Why do both players draw? Destiny Hero DRAWHAND has the same goddamn issue. Are they that afraid of these 2 archetypes being playable? Like a singular draw for yourself was too much? You had to give your opponent a card too? It says a lot about this archetype that this is the best monster in the archetype. So instead of being normal monsters, giving us access to cool cards like Unexpected Die, Rescue Rabbit, or if you are daring, Enchanting Fitting Room, we get these mediocre effects. Well, at least I made the spells a lot better, right? Well, first off, Lucky Loan. Target one Fortune Fairy monster you control, special summon one spellcaster monster from your hand or deck, whose original level is 1 lower than that monster's. Also during your next turn, you cannot normal or special summon monsters during that turn. I mean, this was buffed from the anime, that just generally blocked normal summons in general in the next turn, and only summoned Fortune Fairies. In theory, this is quite a solid card, I mean just being able to summon any spellcaster. However, there's one big issue. Summoning a Fortune Fairy from your deck does not trigger their effects. You should have included a line also for the effects of Fortune Fairies. This counts as being special stones from your hand if you summon them from the deck. Or something like that to at least make them, playable. An acceptable result is a quick play spell that states, if you control a spellcaster monster, special summon one Fortune Fairy monster from your hand. No hard ones per turn or anything. I mean, that's okay. It doesn't do anything hand advantage wise, so maybe a banish from the graveyard effect that allows you to add back a Fortune Fairy back to your hand from the graveyard would have been appropriate or something like that, but it's not terrible. Considering the anime effect only was usable when a Fortune Fairy was summoned, only on the summon, which was more specific in timing and what needed to be on the field, this is a fair buff. So far the two spells had okay buffs, although it has been 10 years, definitely should have been better, just like the monsters. Now onto the card Miracle Stone, which is the reason why I decided to make this entire video in the first place. It's that bad. In this case I want to start with the anime version. All Fortune Fairy monsters gain 1000 attack for each Fortune Fairy on the field. Fortune Fairy monsters cannot attack the turn they are summoned. Sure, you lose their attack the turn they are special summoned, which is a bit odd, but hey, this is a massive boost, 1000 per monster. Control 2 Fortune Fairies, 2k attack on them all. Control 2 Miracle Stones in that situation, they are suddenly 4k beaters. Yeah, back then the last restriction is definitely sensible, as that would have been one hell of an OTK. Now onto the horror that is the physical version. You can only control one Miracle Stone. All spellcaster monsters you control gain 500 attack and defense for each Fortune Fairy monster you control, with different names. Once per turn, when an attack is declared involving your Fortune Fairy monster, you can draw one card. Let's start with that first line. You can only control one Miracle Stone. Konami. Why? Just simply, why? Are you that afraid of like 4k attack beaters in 2019? Then the attack boosting. Why did you nerf it to 500 attack? Are you that afraid of having a maximum 5k attack monsters in an ideal situation? And then there is the different names part. Why is this here? So, in an ideal situation, I control 5 Fortune Fairies with different names. They have 2500 attack. That's severely underwhelming, hardly a worthwhile payoff, and can't get rid of any boss monsters. And the last effect. Sure, you get to draw, which is of course always good. And the idea is that if you draw a Fortune Fairy of this effect, you gain an additional 500 attack and get to trigger that Fortune Fairy's effect. But that's a lot of RNG. This card got nerfed so hard in practice, I honestly don't understand why. So I hope this video made it clear to you how Fortune Fairies got butchered in the TCG. Something which is very sad in my opinion, as this is a deck I would have loved to play. Why even bother printing cards 10 years later if you nerf them into oblivion? Do Konami even play their own game? I mean, that's a stupid question, it's obvious they don't. Cards like this raise many questions. But all we know is that Fortune Fairies got screwed over and there isn't any support for them on the horizon. I hope they get good support in the future, but I honestly doubt it, and I'm pretty sure Volcanics will get support before they do. Which is a shame. Anyways, that's my discussion / rant on Fortune Fairies. Hope you guys liked it, see you guys next time, Untitled Chapter signing out. Peace.